Folks, it is that time of the year again. Rain is scarce, the sun is relentless, and because of that, a lot of lawns here in the Midwest are turning crispy brown. But fear not, in this video, we're going to talk about how you can have the deepest, darkest, greenest, thickest lawn in the summer with proper watering techniques. So I wanted to go ahead and start this video off by letting you guys know that watering can make or break your lawn. As a matter of fact, you need to make the decision early on going into the summer. Are you going to water, or are you going to let your lawn go into summer dormancy, which is essentially when the lawn browns up and the blades shrivel up. It's a defense mechanism the lawn has to get through the heat at times. You need to make a decision. Are you going to let your lawn go into dormancy, or are you going to prioritize aesthetics and keep it watered all throughout the summer? Well, if you are, it's important that you decide one way or another, because if you water it when you feel like it and you let it go, your lawn is going to suffer. Think of it like a human going in and out of a coma. It's just not healthy. So you need to make that decision. You're either all in or you're not. There can't be any in between. You just have to make that decision. Once you decide you're going to water, let's talk about how you can actually keep your lawn green while everyone else's around you is brown from the summer heat. So the best times to water your lawn is going to be in the morning, and the reason I say that is because in the summertime we have a lot of heat and humidity, and when you water in the evening, one of the issues you can run into actually is the water staying on your lawn for a prolonged period of time. And when we have a lot of humidity in the air, which is actually one of the catalysts on the disease triangle, which is another video for another time, that can actually lead to fungus on your lawn, and that's more money you have to spend to get a fungicide to get those treated. So one way you can at the very least mitigate that on your part is to water in the mornings, so that your lawn not only has enough time to absorb the water, but it actually has the sun and the heat later on in the day to help it dry out, so that water's not standing for a prolonged period of time to make a breeding ground for fungus. And another time that's not so ideal to water is the middle of the day. Now, there is a myth out there that if you water during the day, it's going to burn your lawn. Now, I personally don't believe that, and I just want you guys to use a little critical thinking with this one. If that was the case, wouldn't you think we'd be hearing about lawns burning up left and right around the country? Haven't exactly heard a story on that one, so that one isn't necessarily true. That is a myth. As a matter of fact, on off-watering days, if you want to, you can run your sprinkler zones or your sprinkler on your lawn or hand water areas that stress out for about 10 minutes, give them a nice cool down, if you will, kind of like when you drink water during the day. That's something you could do in the middle of the day. But as far as watering goes, like regular deep waterings, I don't recommend doing those in the middle of the day, because one of the things you can run into when you're trying to do a deep watering is evaporation, right? Most of it can evaporate out, so it's a good idea to try and avoid that as much as you can. So ideally, I would start the sprinklers as early as 4 a.m. and have them wrapped up by 10 a.m. Now, if you're hand watering, I'd say between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. on the days that you have certain sections prioritized to be watered. So another thing I want to talk about is how to tell whether your lawn actually needs water or not, because your lawn will talk to you. It'll tell you, hey, I need water. And one of the ways it'll do that in the early stages, if you will, is you'll notice the lawn will actually start to turn a tick gray bluish compared to the rest of it that's sufficiently watered. And on top of that, when you get down and look at it, you'll notice that the tips are actually folding up. Especially if you have Kentucky bluegrass, the tips of the plant will fold up and they'll dry up and shrivel up, while all of the grass around it that does not need water is perfectly green and lush. And another way to tell that the grass needs water, if you don't trust your eye, is to do a walk test. Walk on the lawn, right? And when you walk on the lawn and you notice that your footprints aren't popping up in certain areas as they would in others, or as quickly as they normally would in the springtime, we're getting hammered with a bunch of rain, then that's a good sign that it's time to start watering your lawn. So now let's get to the act of watering your lawn. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can do it with a hand sprinkler, or you can do it with a sprinkler system. I've made tons of videos on this channel talking about watering your lawn with manual sprinklers as well as sprinkler systems, but all it really comes down to, no matter what your method of watering is to make sure you're getting enough water on the ground. Now, one of the things I would recommend if you are watering by hand is to use what is called an impact sprinkler or an impulse sprinkler or a regular rotor sprinkler. Any other sprinkler like the oscillating sprinklers are not going to be ideal. Now, I know a ton of folks who water their lawn and they get good results with the oscillating sprinklers that shoot up in the air. But personally, I wouldn't recommend those because they're not very efficient, right? We want something that's not only going to be efficient with water, but we want something that's going to keep the water low to the ground, like an impact or a rotor sprinkler that would come on your standard sprinkler system nowadays. Because when you keep the water low to the ground, that's actually going to tick back into what we just talked about, the efficiency side of things. It's going to keep the water low to the ground, which means you're going to be able to cover more in less time, which is actually going to save a little bit on your water bill. That's very important there. Now, this next point I'm going to make. You need to make sure you are watering enough. Watering can make or break your lawn, because oftentimes that I see with a lot of people in my area here, and I do have a spray business, so I run into this all the time with clients. Customers will tell me, yeah, I had an irrigation system put in and the irrigation guy set the sprinklers to run every day for 10 minutes. That is not going to do it. Now, you guys may not believe me when I tell you, but if you don't believe me, the proof is in the pudding. Take one of these, stick it in the middle of the zone, and see how much water you're really getting. I'm telling you guys, it's far from enough. Because I've done the readings with my sprinkler system that I have in a video past where I walked my lawn and tested the sprinkler system. It took me anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what type of sprinklers I was running, to actually make sure I was meeting the half-inch requirement. The pop-up zones would be anywhere from 33 to 40 minutes, and the rotors would be anywhere from an hour to 70 minutes. It all varies depending on so many factors, but that's why it's very, very important. Not every irrigation system is the same. You need to actually get out there and test it. You need to take one of these right here, these rain gauges, stick it right in the middle of the sprinkler stream and see how long it takes each zone or each spot. If you have a hand sprinkler, put it in the middle of the stream. If you have a sprinkler system, put it in the middle of the zone and see how long it really takes to get a half-inch of water. And then when you have that data, it's important that you go ahead and calibrate your sprinklers to put out that allotted amount of water every single time. So if it takes 33 minutes after testing it with this, set your zone to 33 minutes 2 mornings a week, Monday and Thursday. If that's not enough, add another day. Monday and Thursday, an hour each time, right? Make sure you set the allotted time it takes to fill this thing. And then on top of that, also make sure you have time in between waterings for your lawn to dry. Very underestimated, very important, because if you don't allow your lawn to dry out, you're actually going to have a lot of negative impacts with watering, adverse impacts when it comes to the nutrient side. When you water a lawn too much and you don't allow it to dry out, you're actually going to flush the lawn's nutrients out. You're going to flush all those nutrients out, and when you do that, the lawn's going to turn a limey green color, and it's not going to look very appealing. If you want your lawn to hold on to the nutrients that we're putting on there, like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, iron, the nice double dark blue-green look that we all know and love. If you want your lawn to hold on to that color we talk about how to get on this channel, whether you're a pro or DIYer, you need to make sure you or your customers, if you're a spray business, are watering the lawn correctly. If they're watering it too much, the lawn's going to turn limey green. If they're not watering enough and they're watering it every single day, it's going to be lime green. If you water it deep and infrequent, and you water it deep enough for the water to get down and actually stimulate those roots, then the lawn is going to have deeper roots and the grass is going to be deeper, darker, greener than your neighbor's as a result. Proper irrigation can make or break a lawn. So again, make sure you take the reading, set it, and monitor it. And guys, quite frankly, when you take the time and do this and you set your sprinklers to water efficiently, you're going to find that your water bill isn't as expensive as your town wants you to believe it is. And you'll actually be able to save some money and have a beautiful lawn with less water. If you guys would like to learn how to master the art of a green lawn, as well as how to have a profitable spray business, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Leave your stories about watering your lawn and how you get through the summer. And on top of that, subscribe to the channel because we have tons of content here for you guys with everything with regards to running a profitable spray business and showing people how to have deep, dark, green, thick grass. Subscribe, check out some of the videos we've made, like, comment, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you guys in future videos.